All right, hi. Hey, today we're going to do a little demonstration on how to draft number 17. And this one's a little harder than you might think at first. Um, and so we'll just get started here. So what I've started with is I have my paper. I have my border that is a 1/2 inch in. I have my 1/2 inch nameplate. And if you look really closely, you can see a 1/2 inch Lucky L there. And that's how we set up every drawing. So let's get started here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 5 inches from, and I'm going to start right on my Lucky L. We're going to go over 5 inches. And that's how long this bad boy is. We'll see if we can make this work. Okay, and I'm going to go back diagonally here because it helps me figure out what I really want to be doing. So we go back 5 inches, or we went over 5. And I know this bottom section is actually recessed back in there a 1/2 inch. So this is actually the start of my diagonal line. And if you just watch, this will eventually kind of play itself out. And so I'm going to erase this little line that I just drew, that portion of it. And I know this needs to go up, a 1/2 inch. And so I'm going to measure up a 1/2 inch right there. And that is where I'm going to come back down forward. Okay. And now, that weird little thing that I just set up there is now going to be the corner of my drawing, because this is going to go all the way to there. Okay. And now I'm going to take this up, and I know it doesn't look like much, but I want you to take a look at that weird little setup that I got going there. I know this is a strange one to do a draft, isn't it? So the big section right in here, that section, I need to come over here and do a little math, because notice there is no measurement in there, huh? But if I know the whole thing is 2.5, and that comes down a half, and that comes up a half, that tells me this distance from here is 1.5. So I'm going to go up 1.5 from here. I'm going to go up 1.5. Okay. And that sits there. And I'm going to darken up over here because I think I have this right. I haven't drawn this one before, but I think I have it right. And then this is going to go diagonal back. And I don't need to measure how far back that goes because it's going to line up with the one on the bottom. So I took this line, picked up my pencil, and continued it up there. Okay. And then that line goes up yet another 1/2 inch. So I'm going to mark out exactly a 1/2 inch on it. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put a line here and a diagonal over here. And I think what you're going to see is this is going to start to pop out. And then you go, oh, I see it now. So can you kind of see that now, how it's sticking out? Now, down below here, we have another piece that we're going to put in. And that's going to go 5 inches. And this is a really weird drawing to do because it doesn't start in the corner of our Lucky L after we measure that first line. And that drives me bonkers. Okay. And so it kind of sits up like that. I guess I could have put this down here, but then this corner would have hung way close to the border. So I did it just a little differently. And then this one up a 1/2 inch. And I believe that goes over to here. And it too is going to line up with this corner, which should line up with this down here. So I'm going to come here to there. And then I'm going to go diagonal back. And I don't know how far back these go. I got to look. Oh, it looks like they go back an inch. So as long as those go back an inch and this goes back 1.5 inches, let's just measure back there and see what we got. So this section here, the whole thing is 1.5 inches. So this goes back 1 inch to right there. And so I can bring this straight up to hit there. This is going to go straight over and hit there. And I think we got this. I think we have it. It's going to look a little different than what's on the screen because we drew it at a different angle, but same size, same object, same shape. Let's see if that makes sense. So all I'm doing is I'm erasing the construction lines that I used to build this drawing. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to take the lines that we have here and I'm going to darken everything up. Because again, when you darken those lines up, it draws your eye away from those lines that you've just erased. And erasing is a part of drafting. So anything we can do to take your eye away from those little lines that we erase, because erasers don't 100% remove things. They just certainly do a pretty good job of getting rid of the darkest part of it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to darken up these lines super dark, super heavy. But notice I'm using my tools to draw those. Don't come in here and freehand this, because as soon as you draw a line without a tool, you've turned your draft into a sketch. And that's no good. Oh, trying to get too dark. I'm snapping lead off. Okay. And so I'm just going to continue around the object until all the lines have been nice and dark. Okay. So there we go. There is number 17. We're going to throw a few measurements on it. This one's a little tricky, so I'm going to change up the way I do this. Let's see if it makes sense. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to tell the world that this is 5 inches long right there to right here. And then again, those are my extension lines. And then a dimension line goes across and then continues, making sure I leave a space in there so I can write 5 inches. And then I'm going to add my arrowhead here. I'm going to add an arrowhead here. Okay. Let's see. I could come over here and tell you that from here to here is 1 inch. And so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to change this up a little bit different than what you see in the drawing. So if I tell you that that's 1 inch, and I come over here and tell you from here to here is 2.5. It might eliminate some of those hard measurements to put on, like the 1/2 inch here and the 1/2 inch here. So if I know the total height of that and this, I just need to tell you this one or this one. And if I do that, we can solve for the rest of them, right? So maybe what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to sneak this in. I don't know if I can or not. I'm going to put an extension line right there. And then I'm going to put just the smallest of dimension lines. And I'm going to put 1/2. And then I'm going to put an arrowhead here and an arrowhead here, and see how that looks. That's not great, but it gets the job done, right? And so now we got to tell you, going back, that from here to here is, what was that? That's an inch. So I'm going to come in here and say 1 inch. And again, nice small colored in arrowheads. They might be kind of hard to see on the camera there. Put an arrowhead there. And then I need to tell you that this is an inch, or I could tell you, I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to go from here to here and tell you that that is 1.5 inches. And the reason I'm doing that is if I say this is 1.5 inches, and I put an arrowhead here and an arrowhead here, I don't have to squeeze a 1/2 inch in there because I can mathematically solve it. I know that's 1.5 inches and that's an inch, so that must be a 1/2 inch. All right. So, hey, that's how you draft number 17. Thanks for coming. Good luck.